Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Educationopedia, the School of Future. Today, I Prabhash is going to deal with the NCERT Grade 8 Chapter 1, the Indian Constitution. As we all know, the Indian Constitution is the rule book by which the Indian country or the Indian government is ruled out or governed, and it lays out many rules and regulations in the form of articles, sections, and different types of rules and regulations which need to be followed by the people of the country, the citizens of the country. So we'll be seeing them one by one. And today in this module, what portion we are going to cover is your how does it evolve? Means our Indian Constitution, how does it evolve from where it came? What is a constitution? We simply know that it is a rule book by which any country is governed. Why do we need a constitution? You already got the answer in the definition itself, that to govern the country or to set out the rules for a country, that how it will work. What are the silent features of our Indian Constitution and how it is different from other countries of the world? So, how our Indian Constitution is different from the other constitution of the world? How does it evolve? From where does the Indian Constitution comes and from where it has been formed? This is the first part. Our beloved nation, India, that is Bharat, got independence from British imperialism on 15th August 1947 after a long drawn out struggle for independence that continued for about 2 centuries. Means 200 years we were under the British rule. Before that also we were for 500 years under the Mughal era, and this was a colonial period of 200 years, and before that the Mughal era. Principles and values that inspired and in fact guided the freedom struggle from the foundation of the Indian democracy. So on which principles we fought the first war of independence, or we fought the freedom struggle, those only laid the foundation stone for the India's democracy, or how India will be a democratic country. These ideals and principles are incorporated in the preamble to the Constitution. What is the preamble? You all have read in the front of NCERT books. It is already given that we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. On this 26th day of November 1949, we adopt, enact, and give ourselves this constitution. So this is the statement which shows all the basic things, that what the Indian people will get, like what type of freedom we are talking about, what type of freedom we will get. That is the first thing, that liberty we will get, social, economic, and political expression, belief, faith, and worship, that all will be promised to the citizen. Equality of status will be given to all the citizens of the country, and fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual. Every individual's dignity will be maintained, and the unity and integrity of the nation will be also taken care. Means they will not leave the unity and integrity of the nation, or they will not break the unity and integrity of the nation at any cost. During freedom struggle, the Indian National Congress in 1934 made a demand for a Constituent Assembly. So first time for the Constituent Assembly, what we call at Samvidhan Sabha in Hindi, that was being asked by the Indian National Congress in 1934 from the British government. During the Second World War, from 1939 to 1945, this assertion for an independent constitution, Constituent Assembly, gained momentum. Means it took a speed, that everybody between 1939 to 1945, you know that Tata Steel, these were working for the bunkers and all those things, and India equally participated in World War. From the British side, the army went to fight, because the Britishers promised that once we will be getting the war won, then we will be supporting Indians to get their freedom, and we will leave them and we will provide them Swaraj. So this was the reason why India was supporting them in the World War. Next is Finally, the British Commission 1946 sent the British government in envisaged the establishment of the Constituent Assembly, formed on of only Indians to draft a constitution of for free India. So what was the thing? So cabinet mission came in 1946. It was sent by the British government and it established the Constituent Assembly, and in that Constituent Assembly only Indians were there to form the constitution for free India. No Britishers was involved in that. Now, what is a constitution? The Constitution of India is a set of written rules that are accepted by all the people living together in a country. So somewhere it can be written, somewhere it can be oral also, it can be in any form, but the Constitution here in India we are having it in the written form. Constitution is the supreme law that determines the relationship among the citizens and the relationship between the citizens and government. So what is the relation between one citizen and another? What is the relation between citizen and the government? These all things are explained by the Constitution. It is the expression of aspiration of the people, citizens, about creating a good society. Means one expression of the people, of aspiring the people or citizens about creating a good society, that how a good society will be there. Why do we need a constitution? It generates a degree of trust among the citizens to live together. It specifies how government will be constituted and who will have the power to take the decisions. Its work as a source of power of the government and limits on it. Means constitution simply says that how the government will be there and who will have the power to take decision, how the government take the decision, that rules are mentioned there. And it also acts as a source of power of the government on the basis of constitution only makes rules and regulations and stops person or limits any person from doing any wrong. The Constitution helps us to protect us against certain decisions which are contrary to the fundamental principles that the country believes in. So Constitution also help us to protect us against certain decisions. So government cannot take any decisions against us, or any decision cannot be taken which will harm the fundamental principles of the country or the fundamental rights and duties of the citizens of the country. Silent features of the Indian Constitution. So there are certain silent features in the Indian Constitution. One by one we will be seeing them and trying to understand, which has been given in this chapter. So let's see. Federalism. In India, we have government at three levels: center, state and local. The central government, state government and the panchayat system. The third tier of the government is local self-government, got constitutional status in 1992. So the third tier, the panchayat, was earlier in the village and it is having different forms, like half panchayat earlier they used to have in Haryana, now it is not there. Though it is existing there, but we cannot say that it is there because we don't see that, but they are there. So simply we can understand for every village we are having the panchayat and there the panchayat there. This existence of three tiers of government is the example of federal structure of government. So at each and every level, at three levels, the government is functioning and they are working for the welfare of the people. That is your federalism. Parliamentary form of government. The Constitution of India guarantees universal adult suffrage or universal adult franchise for all its citizens without any discrimination on the ground of age, educational qualification, sex, race or caste, etc. So whether any person is of a particular age or above age of 18, whether whatever educational qualification that person is having, whatever sex or that gender that person is having, male, female or transgender, whichever race he belongs to, either Mongolian, Russian, Indian, African, whichever race he is or whichever caste he belongs to, all the people are given equal rights from the constitution. This means people of India directly elect their representatives for Lok Sabha. So they all choose their representative for Lok Sabha in the general elections after every 5 years. Our government has been made responsible of to the house of the people of Lok Sabha. So the government is responsible for the house of the people, that is known as the Lok Sabha. And house of the states is known as the Rajya Sabha. Separation of power. Second important feature is the separation of power. How is the power distributed among the different organizations and agencies in the government? There are three organs of the government, with executive, legislative, and judiciary. Each of the organs exercise different powers. Each organ acts as a check on the other organ, and thus this ensures the balance of the power between all three. Like, the executives are your persons who are working in the offices. The legislature is your parliament, where all the MPs and MLAs are there. They are making and passing the law of the bills and making them laws. After, once the bills becomes the laws, they are going to for execution, or executives are there at different levels who are your IS officers who are working that this program may work and these laws are followed strictly. And after that, if these laws are broken or any other sort of problem is coming from people, for that purpose the judiciary is there. The different courts are there. The Supreme Court at the highest level, apex level, below that the high courts in different states, and below that the district or just session district or the local courts in the cities or districts. Each of the organs exercise different powers. Each organ acts as a check on the other organ, and thus ensures the balance of the power between all three. So all are having a command over among three. They are trying to rule the country in such a manner that everybody is getting the right benefits and they are not cheated by anyone. Silent features of our constitution. Secularism. Another silent feature of our constitution is secularism. Secularism means dharma nirpekshta in Hindi. Dharma nirpekshta means we are not favoring any certain religion in our country, or we are not saying that this country only belongs to the people of a certain religion. India does not promote any religion as the state religion. Rather, it respects all religions equally. We all are saying that we are having one religion as Hinduism, Hinduism, Hinduism. There is no such thing called Hinduism. We all are Sanatan. Okay, from the one father or from one the very beginning. Rather, it respects all religions equally. So those who don't respect all religion means they are not respecting the constitution of India. At the same time, it maintains a principled distance from religion. Means religion is totally not having any impact on the constitution. It is not following any rules and regulations made by the religion, that will be totally neglected by the Indian constitution, and they have no impact on the Indian constitution. Though you can follow it, if it's your belief, faith, worship, you can go through those books, rule books, or any of the epics, or any of the books mentioned by our history or by our historians. But the basic thing, what rule the constitution will follow, is the rule which is given in the Indian constitution, and that is followed to be followed by each and every citizen of the country. The Indian state works in various ways to prevent inter-community and intra-community dominations. So among the people only, and among the people of different communities, there should be no fight, there should be no war, and nobody should face any sort of problem. For that, the Indian constitution is working. It helps us to remove the riots. It helps us to move the different problems which are faced by the different communities at certain particular occasions. Next silent features is your fundamental rights. Important because it is talking about ourselves only. Each and every citizen of our country has certain fundamental rights. These are the basic human rights of all citizens. So these fundamental rights are the basic human rights of everyone, like you, like me, like everyone in this country is having certain fundamental rights. These are enforceable by the courts. So the courts are there, the district courts are there, the high courts are there, and the Supreme Court is there. Especially the Supreme Court, once it gives the order, nobody can challenge that. So that is, the court is there subject to specific restrictions, and there are certain restrictions on the people also on the basis of these rights, that if you are having that rights, you cannot use or you cannot misuse those rights. There are 6 fundamental rights guaranteed to the citizens of India by the constitution. So we are getting 6 fundamental rights according to the Indian constitution. Next is your silent features of the Indian constitution, that is your fundamental duties. The fundamental duties are incorporated in the Constitution by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. So there are many amendments made in the Constitution after its implementation and incorporation. So the 42nd Amendment Act is there. In that, the fundamental duties were added in the Constitution in 1976. Originally, there were 10 fundamental duties, and the 11th duty was added in the 86th Amendment Act 2002. So originally we read about the 6 fundamental right, but we are having 11 fundamental duties and 10 fundamental duties, and one more 11th duty was added in 86th Amendment Act 2002. Though they are not enforceable by the court, but it is our pious duty to perform our duties, perform our duties towards our nation, because rights and duties are complementary to each other. So everybody has to follow the rights and duties, and these rights and duties are complementary to each other, which means that we have to follow them, and both go hand to hand. What is the basic thing? That both of these go hand to hand. The rights are also there for you, and the duties are also there for you. If you are liable to get the rights, you are also responsible to follow the duties. How is it is different from the constitution of the world? The different constitution of the world are there. What is the difference between the Indian constitution and the different constitution? It is a living document. Indian constitution is a living document, and it is working as something which is having certain powers, and it can make important changes. It is open to interpretation, so we can interpret also anything we feel that no, it should not be like that. So we can go through the courts, and we can have debates in parliament, and many things can change. It evolves every day. So there are many change, and evolves means many changes are occurring in it every day. Whatever changes come, they are adding and they are implementing those changes. It is the lengthiest document in the world. So Indian constitution is the lengthiest. It is the having the maximum numbers of rules and regulation. It can adapt itself according to the changing needs of time. So in Indian constitution, we can make changes, and according to the needs of the people, this constitution is changing time to time. The largest, you can see here, the largest constitution in the world being signed by the architect of independent India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So Jawaharlal Nehru was there. He was the first Prime Minister of India, because he was having some classes and he cried a lot in front of Gandhiji that I want to be the PM of India. Otherwise, you know that we are having Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. He was the right candidate for the prime minister position, but due to the situations, whatever the scenarios were there, Jawaharlal Nehru got that opportunity. Now some question is there. What is a constitution? You already know that it is a rule book by which a country is governed. Why do a country need a constitution? To rule it properly and in a proper manner. Silent features of the Indian constitution, you have already read. The federalism is there, secularism is there, many more you have read. Next, the constitution of India is a living document. Justify. Yes, it is a living document, because we are having the rules and regulations which is going on still in the present day, and there is no yet change, and every day something is happening, and that we can sort out through that particular rule book. Next is, how can you say that constitution of India is a unique document? Explain. Because it is having the features of the longest document. Next, here in the picture you can see that people who drafted the Indian constitution, the people who drafted the Indian constitution are B.N. Rao. Who was B.N. Rao? B.N. Rao was a person who was the constitutional advisor to the Constituent Assembly. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was the chairman of the drafting committee. After that, we are having the K.M. Munshi, that member of the drafting committee of our Indian constitution. Muhammad Sahidullah was also, the Sahadullah was also there. Alladi Krishna Swami was also there, one of the persons. N. Gopalachari, N. Gopal Swami was there, and Madhav Rao was there. T.T. Krishnachari was also there. So these were the persons who drafted the Indian constitution. This way we have completed our second chapter of grade 8th NCERT social science and political life, chapter 2. So this was the things what we have in our constitutions. I hope you got this concept clear. So we'll meet in the next video. Thanks for watching the video. Please like and share the video. Thanks for watching Educationopedia.